Hello, everybody. I'm Manya. Welcome to Clat. In today's video, we'll be summarizing the current affairs, keeping Clat in mind for the date 21 January 2023. Our main source is the Hindu newspaper. So, the first news piece that we'll be focusing on is the Supreme Court is firm on appointing Saurabh Kirpal as the HC judge. So let's understand this piece of news in detail. So here, Saurabh Kirpal was recommended for judgeship for the Delhi High Court by the High Court Delhi to the Supreme Court. The collegium in the Supreme Court agreed and approved this decision on appointing Saurabh Kirpal, but then the government sent it back for reconsideration. But why did this happen and what does a collegium mean? Let's find out. First of all, a collegium is a group or a team which is consisting of 4 senior judges of the Supreme Court and is headed by the Chief Justice of India. So here we have a timeline here. So in 2017, it was first recommended that Saurabh Kirpal should be a judge in the Delhi High Court. And then in the year 2021, the Supreme Court Collegium approved this decision. The collegium was headed by Dhananjaya Y. Chandrachud. And in the year 2022, the government sent this back for reconsideration. So what were the objections that were put across by the government? Basically two. First of all, the RAW, that is the Research and Analysis Wing. It said that Saurabh Kirpal had a Swiss partner, and this might create some issues with the independence of judiciary or some related things. Secondly, it was very obvious that Saurabh Kirpal was very passionate and used to advocate matters related to the LGBTQ community. And this was seen as a problem, and thus the government objected for the same. Also, it was also obvious that he was a gay lawyer. So keeping all of this reasons, the government objected, but then the Supreme Court kept all of these aside and said that and was firm on appointing him as the High Court judge for Delhi. Second, we have the news that we have is the sexual allegations pressed on the WFI president. So let's expand WFI first. WFI means the Wrestling Federation of India. And who's the president upon whom these sexual allegations have been pressed? It's Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. And what exactly is the issue? It is that he is being accused of sexually exploiting the young athletes at a women's national camp. So we'll find out more about this as more news adds on day by day in our further videos. Thirdly, we have an important news, which is generalized surveillance of Indian citizens. So there are allegations, some organizations are allegating the same against the Union of India. So what exactly is all of this? Let's start from zero. It's Internet Service Providers Association. So the central government orders to provide all traffic information from the internet. And how do they do it? It's through something called a CMS, which is Centralized Monitoring System. Why do they do this? So that it becomes easy for them to monitor in real time from law enforcement agencies. But then Clat can ask us questions from the background of this news part. So let's find out. There are 3 ways in which data is basically collected or analyzed by the government. First is the CMS, second the Netra, and third the NAT grid. CMS we've discussed it already in our previous slides. Let's focus more on Netra and NatGrid here. Netra means networking traffic analysis. It was developed by CAIR, which is the Center for AI and Robotics, which is also part of the DRDO. All of this data, which is collected by the Netra or which is analyzed by the Netra, is used mainly by two, that is the Intelligence Bureau and the RAW. Secondly, the NatGrid. The NAT grid expands to National Intelligence Grid. This is an intelligence sharing network which collects data of enforcement agencies. With this, let's move to our next part, which is POXO. POXO 2012. This was after the UN Convention on the Rights of Child, which was in the year 1992. The main aim of this act is prevent sexual exploitation of children, and few features of this act is it's gender neutral. It has no bias on whether it's a girl child or a boy. Sexual exploitation can happen to all genders or all kinds of children. Secondly, here it was mentioned that the storage of child pornography was a crime. And thirdly, even though the two-finger test was banned, it was revealed that some doctors are still uh, making this, like they're still following this procedure, which is not scientific and is banned. Moving forward to the next news part, National Export Cooperative Society. So this was approved by the Union Cabinet in the month of January, the same year, 2023. And the first products to be exported from this society is IFFCO, which is the Indian Farmers Fertilizers Cooperative Ltd, and the Amul dairy products. But why exactly did they make it, or what's the purpose of the society? The purpose of the society is to provide a platform to make export easy and to give them a world market, mainly to small farmers and small artisans. But then in the same article or in the same news piece, an export promotion council was also mentioned. And let's find out what this is and how it's different from NEC. So Export Promotion Council was passed under the Ministry of Commerce, and it acts like a facilitator to farmers and artisans. It basically provides or spreads awareness on potential markets worldwide, but it does not necessarily help on exporting the products. But here it's more of action in NEC, where they provide end-to-end services to these small farmers and artisans. Coming to our next part, which is ASER, Annual Status of Education Report. This report is facilitated and or published by the Pratham, which is an NGO. So what happens in ASER? It's a nationwide household surveys where they go to the doorsteps of people and conduct this survey, and they usually focus and cover all the rural areas of the country. And according to this survey, it's come out that the enrollment figure for the children from age 6 to 14 years in schools is 98.4%. This is around almost a percent more than that was before COVID. And interestingly, there has been a rise in the enrollment figures in the government schools. So there are three reasons they have assumed and they've stated for why there is an enrollment raise in government schools and not private schools. First of all, one of the reasons might be that the private schools closed or shut down after the COVID. Secondly, throughout the COVID period, even though the schools were shut down, they did provide midday meals. Thirdly, throughout this COVID period, the government schools also distributed books, pens, pencils, and other stationery equipments and other things which might be necessary for the students to continue their education. So there are a few more reasons, but these three are right now stated as some probable reasons for why a rise is seen in the enrollment rates in the government schools. Under the same, the NEP was also mentioned. It's the National Education Policy 2022. It's essential for us to remember the aim of this policy. It is foundation literacy and numeracy, which is that they know the basics and they know how to read any language and they know how to read sentences and paras. Also, they know basics of counting, multiplication, division, and subtraction. So that's the aim, foundation literacy and numeracy. Secondly, there's another initiative or government scheme that was mentioned. It is Nipun Bharat. Nipun can be expanded to national initiative for proficiency in reading with understanding and numeracy, which has a similar aim to that of NEP. Moving forward, let's talk about Jacinda Ardern. So she is the New Zealand Prime Minister who has decided and has announced that she's going to step down and resign. She is from the Labour Party, and she is also considered to be a very to be considered as a world leader. And it's said that she's more popular outside her country when compared to inside. Also, she's known to have managed the Christ Church Mosque massacre in the year 2019 very well, and um, so it's become a really big news internationally on how she's decided to step down. Finally, we have the Jaipur Literature Festival. So this Jaipur Literature Festival is the 16th edition that we are talking about. Here we have they had 350 plus featured participants, speaker subjects, which included climate change, art, culture, etc. One of the main highlights was Abdul Razak Gurna, who is a Nobel laureate and who gave the keynote address in this event. Thank you all. I hope it helps you for your preparation in class. Thank you once again.